Hello guys, welcome to Talk to Your Midwife session. Now today I want us to talk about something very sensitive, especially in our country Kenya. And I know I will get a lot of stones being thrown to me because of posting this, but I have to. Let me just post it ndio hii kitu nitoke. So let's talk about the healthcare system in our country Kenya. And I have a question to ask you guys before I start on anything. We have had so many people dying at home. Maybe they were sick or maybe they were not sick. And someone just dies at home. Someone can even collapse in the house and die. And the people after that will be like, oh, it was God's will. It was God's will. He called him to rest. He called her to rest. Ni mambo ya Mungu. But when this same person dies in the hospital, what will be said after will be there was negligence of that hospital, there was negligence of the nurses, there was negligence of the of the doctors. Why is that so? When a patient or someone who was stable dies anywhere, in a road accident, anywhere else, in a club, drinking alcohol, anywhere away outside the hospital area, that will be it was God's will. That is what people will say. But when this same person, in case this same person dies in a hospital, just because maybe they were being taken for some medical checkup or some medical first aid or some urgent attention, medical attention, and then they end up dying, people will say the doctor did not do enough, the doctors did not do enough, the nurses did not do enough. The hospital is just after money, our money, because they were asking for 5,000 before they gave him any medication and all that. Why is that happening in our country, Kenya? Why? Because in abroad, there are rare cases of such things. People should learn to accept that when your day has come, when God created you, He knew that on this specific date you will die. Whether you will be in a labor ward, whether you will be in the ward admitted, whether you will be sleeping in your very cozy bed, when your day comes, when that very day that the Lord has said it is the day that He will call you, it doesn't matter where you will be. We have had a priest one day who died at the pulpit, at the altar, after when performing a holy mass. So wherever you will be that very day when it comes, the Lord will take your heart, the Lord will take your soul, and that is when you will die. And to conclude all this, I'm saying we have very sensitive cases in our country Kenya about maternal death. Unless you have been in a maternity, either as a pregnant woman who is giving birth, unless you have been in a theater going for a cesarean section, unless you are a healthcare worker who is working in maternity, unless you are a midwife, unless you are a nurse, unless you are a doctor, unless you are an obs-gyn, you will never understand that losing a mother in maternity or losing a neonate in maternity is never in anyone's hands. Everything that happens in a maternity is in God's hands. We have studied a lot of things, but there is a time when even us as the healthcare workers know that this thing has happened not because of our education, not because of our wisdom and knowledge, but this thing has happened because of the one who is above, because of God's powers, because of God's graces and God's mercies. We have had babies being born flat with no score. You try to resuscitate, you can't feel any heartbeat, you can't feel anything, you can't see any breathing, but after some minutes this baby comes back to life and you're like, this was not at our level, this was not our might. This is God's might. This is God's work, because God had a purpose of this specific baby to survive and live. We have had a lot of women having so many complications, and I will wish any mother who is watching this video and you have had a delivery which was quite tricky, you had some bleeding, you had some complications with your baby, and you ended up surviving and you're still alive with your baby, kindly comment here. Kindly comment and inform people that you had seen the end of your life, but at some point God took you, God brought you back to life. We have had some, even here in TikTok, I guess you've heard women saying that I had a lot of bleeding after delivery, the doctors tried to resuscitate me, and I found myself in a very dim place, and at the end of the tunnel I saw like a light. It was like Jesus calling me, it was like Jesus telling me, go back to raise your child, go back because your family is waiting for you. And then you like wake up and you are in the ICU. We have a lot of, if only women can talk, if only women can open up and explain to people and talk and say how much they once suffered in a maternity. Some of them will say, my doctors did the best. I just love how the doctors took care of me, took care of my child, and we were like somewhere where we even saw that if God cannot come through this, even the doctors will not be able to do that. So kindly people, let us not depress the nurses, let us not depress the doctors. Let no doctor take a suicide because you reported him, or you just planted him as a neglecting doctor. Let no nurse kneel down to God and shed tears because you framed her as a neglecting nurse. Once I will give, very soon I'm going to give a personal experience as a midwife, as a nurse midwife, which happened and which almost made me take away my life. Something very traumatizing, and God knows. But I thank God that by now at least I feel, even when I think about that case, at least I feel quite healed, though it is still hurts me. So please, people, let no nurse, let no doctor shed tears, cry to God, and ask God to take away lives just because you and your family members, or you and social media, or you as whoever person you are, you're framing them for the cause of death of your loved one. Remember, it is only God who can take away your life, because he is the only one who made that life. So we as human beings, we don't have any powers either to bring in life or to take away life. Even we as women, you only carry a pregnancy that is a life that was taken by God and inserted inside your womb, inside your uterus. Otherwise, if God did not take a life and planted it inside your uterus, you can never be a woman. So it is in no one's powers. So kindly, everyone, this is not only to women, and I'm so sorry for those who have lost. I have friends who have lost their wives in labor ward. It is so hard, I know it is so hard, and I understand, but kindly people, let us try to always tell God to give us acceptance. Let us always try to remind God, God, please, we don't want this and this and this. Kindly, God, let us remember to call God. Let us always remember to pray. Whatever happens in maternity, it is always in God's hands. Not in our hands as nurses and midwives, not in Obskyne's hands, not in any hospital's hands. You can pay millions of money in a hospital and you end up even losing a baby, because it is God who took away that baby, not your money. No money can even save you. No money, no surgery can be able to save you. God only guides us, the doctors, and guides us, the nurses, to try to. It is God who tells us, do this, and it is Him who enables us to do all this. So kindly, let us always pray for the nurses, pray for the doctors, and pray for ourselves. Pray for the women in labor, pray for the women undergoing cesarean section and even the normal labor. So thank you, and I hope we work together with this. I'm going to post another video very soon to keep encouraging those, especially who have people who have lost their lives in maternity, and try to show you what could have led to their deaths. So thank you very much. Let us comment here and share our experiences, and I hope we'll get help, all of us.